Sports Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
His ability to run the football, whether it's design runs, scrambles, has been a nightmare for teams, as well as spreading the ball out. The receivers is playing at a really, really high level right now. The running back's playing at a high level. They're blocking up front really well, and then you mix in the amount of tempo that they're running. They're getting a lot of people misaligned. I think it's a credit to where Duggan's at and how he's playing, because he's making them go.
That was a game between two good teams. Somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose. The Chiefs came up on the short end on this one, but, it doesn't mean they will the next time they play these guys. So, remember, the Chiefs lost to the Bills around the same time of the season last year. Everybody thinks, there goes home field advantage. But when playoffs came around, the Chiefs-Bills game was at Arrowhead. But the way the Bills are playing, I don't know. I mean, this year, they're different this year. This is a better team than they've been. So it's tough to see them losing a whole lot of games and falling behind the Chiefs and other teams.
And the pitch swung on, hit in the air to deep right. That ball is high, it is far, it is gone. It is a Judgian blast. 8 homers, and the Yankees take a 4-0 lead.
We hit the ball out of the ballpark, which was big for us, and obviously played a big role in it today. I feel like our bullpen did the job. Garrett Cole had 2 huge starts for us, but it was as competitive a series as you can have. Going 5 games, a little bit of back and forth. They pulled one out late on us. I don't know what necessarily the difference was, but it was a hard-fought, close series.
Swing and a drive, forget it. Right field, way back, look out, second deck, and it's gone. Kyle Schwarber with a mammoth home run over the right field fence into the second deck, and the Phillies take a 2-0 lead on a no-doubter. Whoa!
Wiggins, pass to DiVincenzo, dribble drives, locates Curry. Fakes and fires, left wing, triple for Curry.
The second-round shooter for the Kings, a right shot, a goal and an assist tonight, picks it up. Velarde in on goal, dekes, and he scores. Quick hands, Gabe Velarde, and the Kings are up 1-0 in the shootout.
And good afternoon, everybody. I'm Mike Hesher, along with Mike Corson this afternoon. This is Sports Day. It's presented to you by Barton Community College and Barton Cougar Athletics. We do appreciate all their fine sponsorship as we get started for, I believe it's the second decade of Sports Day. Obviously, for Mike Corson and myself, this is our first decade, but we had 10 years of doing this.
It's my second week.
Is that bad?
Yeah.
Well, you've been busy with the Cougars, the Mike Corson on the prowl with Great Bend High School.
It has been a run. It's fun. Glad we're doing it.
Yep, me too. Okay, so here's what the rundown was, and a special thanks to Steve Webster for providing this information. The first one was the head coach of the Wildcats of Kansas State, Chris Kleiman, as he talks about the quarterback for let's see, who they play this weekend? Horned Frogs, Texas Tech, Max Dugan, and that's a big game coming up for K-State this weekend.
Yeah, TCU, they were trailing that Oklahoma State game most of the way, come back and win it pretty gutty, so now they're the big dogs in the Big 12, and K-State's going to have to flex its muscles a little bit to move into that position.
And this is a battle of the top 2 teams in the Big 12, correct?
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to end up that way, but TCU's definitely earned its spot there, and the Big 12 season is still young, so it's just so wide open that who knows what it's going to be like, but this is big early on.
TCU and K-State both on top of the Big 12 standings with a record of 3-0 in the conference. Texas is next at 3-1, and then Oklahoma State 2-1 and KU at 2-2. You can actually see that K-State TCU game scheduled for a 7 o'clock start on Fox Sports 1.
What if we'll get Gus Johnson for that?
Doesn't he usually do Fox Sports? He doesn't do the cable. He does the main one, I believe.
He's the big dog?
He is the big dog.
It'll still be nice to be in prime time.
This is true. And just for your information, K-State won 31-12 last year in Manhattan. Okay, the second one we had was, where'd my information go on this one? I got too many papers. Let's see. That was actually John Sterling with the call on WAFN as the Yankees came away with a victory.
Yeah, I always bash the National League, but now I'm going for the National League. Two of my least favorite teams now that the Dodgers are out are the Yankees and Astros, so there's no way I can cheer on the American League.
And I did skip one. We'll get back to them in a little bit. But I had somebody call on the Trading Post this morning and ask me who I was rooting for. I was like, Astros, Yankees? I'm not really rooting for either one of them.
The National League at least has some fresh blood with both of those teams, so
right.
I wouldn't mind either one of them. But the fighting Bryce Harpers.
And we'll get to that as well. We're getting ahead of ourselves here. So, and I did miss one. That was Adam Teicher. He was the second one. He is a ESPN.com Chiefs reporter. He was talking about how, as most people are expecting the Chiefs and Bills to meet again in the playoffs.
I think he's right, and I said that yesterday, but I borrowed it from somebody else that Buffalo did win last year, but they still didn't play in Buffalo for the playoffs. So you look at that, you would say Kansas City's not going to lose to Indianapolis. Well, they did. So Buffalo will be the better team going into every matchup this season, but doesn't mean they're going to win.
There is a reason they play the game, correct?
There's a chance.
I mean, you just never know. Okay, getting back in order then. Then we had Aaron Boone. He was talking about the Yankees as they open up their series against the Houston Astros tonight. We both said neither one of us like either one of these teams.
Yeah, and so the interesting thing is all the rain delays pushed it so there was no rest days. So the Yankees or the Guardians were going to have to get on a plane last night and fly back to Houston. But like one of the Yankees says, that's what they do in baseball.
That's what my comment was. It's not that big a deal because these guys do this all the time.
That, and they're going indoors. It's going to be temperate. It's going to be dry. So
And it wasn't early. It was an afternoon start, so they probably got into Houston at a reasonable hour. And they do all the time.
So the bad part was you want to see maybe some small ball, but we know that with the pitching, I think both games last night were decided by home runs.
Right. Well, the other one's 2-0 as
both home.
Yes, and we'll get to that as well. And next up was the Philadelphia Phillies. That was John Scomby with the call as Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper hit home runs in the 2-0 win for the Phillies over the Padres. And I know you're a Bryce Harper fan.
Yeah, and I had it on, but I was doing other stuff, and so they said the Schwarber home run was like the longest one in the stadium or the hardest hit ball in that stadium.
I did not see they talked like he crushed it. I did not see it either, but it was like a second decker in San Diego.
Yeah, and I guess nighttime with the heavier air, so it must have been But yeah, Harper, he can be up and down. He can be MVP caliber, but nice to see him performing when it matters and on TV.
And the other thing I just had a thought was, in the Yankees, they play tonight, so they get the benefit of, depending on when they got into Houston, they have basically all day. So I think that's just a cop-out if somebody's talking about that.
Yeah, I'm going to guess they're not staying in a 2-star, so
no.
They should have had some nice food and some nice beds to sleep in.
And the charter, but also you can't forget about Zach Wheeler. He tossed a one-hit ball for 7 innings last night as the Phillies did take that 1-0 lead in the National League Championship Series as they won that one by a score of 2-0. We'll have that game starting at 3 o'clock this afternoon on KBGB and 95.5 FM. And then tonight we will have the opener between the Yankees and Houston. Then we had a couple, and Webby put this in especially for you and I believe. There was a play-by-play call of basketball because the NBA got started, and it was the Warriors, as the Warriors, Steph Curry draining a three-pointer, and the Warriors opened the season with a 123-109 win over the Lakers.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I have equated the NBA to the WWE or WWF because I value them both the same. So I had on TBS after the game last night, and like the minor league wrestler was running, and I watched that a little bit. So missed out on that NBA action.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the NBA either. When I was in Colorado, I did go watch the Nuggets a little bit. I had a coworker who was from Philly, so we'd have to go watch the the Nuggets and the Sixers when they were in town. And the one year we went, Nuggets led the whole game. Philadelphia led the whole game, and this is really they led the whole game. I think it might have been Nikola Jokic hit a three-pointer right at the buzzer, and the Nuggets won, and this gentleman was crushed.
My Pepsi Center story, which is now the Ball Center.
The Ball Center, correct.
We went to a concert you walk in there, and I don't know if it's for the sporting events also, but you can take your picture with the little mountain lion for the Nuggets, which was kind of cool. But the smell, they had the almonds going.
Really?
I've never smelled an arena like that. I was like, Colorado.
Sure it was almonds? It could have been something else in Colorado. You never know. Okay, we'll leave it at that. We don't need to touch that one. And the final one was, he also provided us an NHL highlight as the call on AM 570 as Gabe Velarde scores the eventual shootout winner as the Kings beat the Predators 4-3.
So, yes, I don't watch a whole lot of regular season hockey. I've been a hockey fan forever, but definitely the playoffs when they get the beards going. And they don't fight in the playoffs. So my dad was flipping through the channels while I was over there, and sure enough, there was a fight, first game of the season. I'm like, yes.
They don't fight in the playoffs?
I think it's too valuable to lose ice time.
Well, that's true. Okay, you are the stat man, right?
Sometimes.
Did you bring in, you went to college with statistics, right? You said you told me you enjoyed that class. I didn't enjoy that class. You said you enjoyed it. Okay, so I have stats of my own that I was found yesterday online. And everybody talks about how well Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are successful in the fourth quarter. These are their drives this year when they are either have a one-score lead, tied, or trailing in the fourth quarter of this season. So, out of those drives, they've had 3 punts, 2 game-ending interceptions thrown by Patrick Mahomes, 1 field goal, they went up by 10, 1 field goal to go up by 3, a touchdown to go up by 7, a missed field goal, and a fake field goal attempt. So, I think that's the perception of Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs being successful in the fourth quarter. That kind of goes against that grain.
I'd have to see kind of the breakdown there, but the 2 big surprises are the interceptions because those could have yielded points. So
right.
That dramatically would change your little score sheet over there. So the fact that he has thrown those and they happen to be in key situations is a strike, but I'd still take him.
I would still rather
most.
have him than not have him on the Chiefs, obviously.
And I would rather have him than most quarterbacks. Look, Russell Wilson you did not want to give him the ball with 2 minutes left in Seattle, and now please give the opponents are like, here, take it.
Yeah. And did you have some Yankee information that you were going to share with us?
So I was watching the Yankees going for the Guardians. Matt Carpenter comes up. Beautiful mustache, but this guy has had a beard for most of his career. So the question I was going to ask you is, if you're good enough to play for the Yankees, you're good enough to play anywhere else. Would you take a $3 million contract for the Yankees if you had to shave your face and give up $1 million to play somewhere else where you could wear your hair out? And I haven't shaved my face with a razor in 20 years. I wouldn't for $1 million to play for the Yankees.
That's a good question. I don't know. I just don't know.
I mean, I get the tradition. It's kind of cool, but, if you slide in the grass or the dirt, you got to change your pants. You got to be pristine all the time. It's no other teams are doing it, and I know that's what supposedly makes the Yankees special, but...
Yeah, he doesn't look right without a beard, does he? That mustache just does not look good on him, in my opinion.
It is a great mustache, but those are hard to pull off anyway.
Okay, so we got coming up on the show today. We're not quite ready to get to them yet, but we have an interview with Greg Maxwell as the Ellinwood volleyball team is headed. They're the number 1 seed in the sub-state. Yes,
big 3 ranked teams in the Trigo sub-state, and we'll talk about that. But going in as the number 1 seed, obviously they want to go back to state, and 32-3 on the year, so just...
That's pretty good.
6 straight league titles. I mean,
that's amazing, really.
With Central Plains and St. John. In there, so.
Then you think about Central Plains' 8 straight basketball championships. Kind of puts that into perspective, but
I have a feeling that'll be a topic in the upcoming months.
Well, very well could be. Okay, so high school football this weekend. Have we talked much football this week for high school?
We might have recapped some games Monday, but now we're on the back half. We can start
looking forward. Gray Bend at 5-2. They travel to Garden City 6-1. You can hear that game with Patrick Burnett on 104.3 The Point. Pregame at 6:30. Kickoff at 7. Thoughts on Gray Bend and Garden City? That's a big one. Well, the Panthers have already clinched a home field playoff game, correct?
Yeah, and I believe there's going to be several teams kind of fighting in there on the point differential. So this game still will matter, and obviously if you can get that extra win, it will help even more drawing a lower seed, but probably, if you're being honest, it's the first time in several weeks that Great Bend hasn't been favored. Garden City's having a great year, but I wasn't sure they were favored against Dodge. They went at Dodge and won, so...
At Dodge in Wichita.
I think they were favored in Wichita, some of those.
Oh, okay.
But
okay, you were talking about Great Bend going to Dodge City.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I was thinking Garden City, Dodge City. I didn't make the transition. My
No,
fault.
you're good.
Other Western Athletic Conference games: Hayes High takes on Topeka High. Topeka High is only 1-6, and the Indians are 6-1. Thoughts?
No, just
I mean,
I watched those first two Hayes games. I thought Great Bend had a chance against them, and you see what Hayes has done the rest of the year, and they're actually fairly legit.
and then we got Dodge City taking on Wichita Southeast, and finally Liberal will take on Ulysses. And as Great Bend found out last week, Liberal is 1-6, but they are a tough 1-6, and Liberal's 2-5. Ulysses is 1-6.
Yeah, based on head-to-head results, I would not count Ulysses out of that one.
There's no question.
It has
about
no
that.
implications for our area, but
Right.
always fun to watch.
Central Kansas League, Cimarron 2-5 takes on Hoisington at 5-2. You can hear that game on 100.7 Eagle Country with Cole Rife, broadcast at 6:30, kickoff at 7. And then Larned takes on Lakin. Larned now 3-4. Lakin is 5-2. And maybe the big one in the Central Kansas League, we don't know how big it will be, but Andale 7-0. They take on Pratt 6-1.
Some interesting matchups, and that's one of them. You don't ever pick against Andale on the run they're on, but if a team can do it maybe this year, it's a physical Pratt team. I wouldn't bet on it.
Okay, and you're the betting man. Get ahead with Barton online or dual credit classes at Barton Community College. Earn a certificate or associate degree while in high school. Learn more at gobarton.com. Coming up, we will talk with, actually, Mike Corson will talk with Greg Maxwell from Ellinwood High School as they get ready for sub-state play. We'll talk with Jessica Mendoza. It's a report. Jessica talks about the baseball coming up tonight on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. And then a little bit later, I'll talk with the voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers, Gerard Wellbrock. We'll talk a little football, and then the media day for basketball was out. Both the women and men at Fort Hays were ranked in 2 and 3, respectively. And we'll be right back with more Sports Day after this. You're listening to 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM. It is the talk of the town.
This is Barton Community College Athletic Director Trevor Rolfs. The Barton Athletic Department is proud to sponsor Sports Day on KVGB, a show that showcases all of our high school student athletes in central Kansas, some whom will continue their educational and athletic future with us here at Barton. We're excited about the fall sports season that is now underway and invite you to attend a game or a match and experience the rich tradition of Cougar athletics. For complete schedules and results, visit bartonsports.com.
Venture Corporation is now hiring for a CDL tanker operator driver. We'll operate the same truck all week. New higher wages with flexible hours, no weekends, and time and a half over 40 hours. Blue Cross and Blue Shield health insurance, vision insurance, Section 125 cafeteria plan, 401k retirement plan with match. Venture Corporation is an equal opportunity employer. Women and minorities encouraged. Apply in person at 214 South Highway 281 in Great Bend. Online at venturecorpks.com or call Leslie at Venture Corporation. Homegrown, family owned. Today's the day for you to become an instant finalist in our Shopping Over the Holidays $10,000 shopping spree from Mater Plumbing, Heating and Air, your Brian dealer, and Bauer Computers. Scott Donovan inviting you to stop by. See Gerard and the crew. Heavy Duty Diesel and Auto, 3208 Railroad Avenue in Great Bend. Hey, you got some good news, man.
Yeah, we're now a Pro Series battery dealer, so we keep batteries not only for big trucks but automotive. Some we will install, but mostly just cash and carry. Bring us your core and we'll give you an exchange. Most of these batteries are coming with a 36-month free replacement warranty. Coming into winter, you're going to need a battery, I'm sure, so keep us in mind.
Let's talk a little bit about winter maintenance, because now's the time to start making those calls. You guys are filling up fast.
Yeah, we're getting very busy. Just want to remind everybody to check your antifreeze, check your batteries, just make sure your car's ready to go, air your tires up, things like that.
Remember, we've got that special one-day only QR code. Come on in, bring your phone, scan that thing, get yourself registered, become an instant finalist today to win a $10,000 shopping spree on December the 16th. Good luck from your friends at Mater Plumbing, Heating and Air, your Brian dealer, Bauer Computers, and Heavy Duty Diesel and Auto.
Welcome back to Sports Day, 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM. Mike Corson, joined today by Ellinwood High School volleyball coach Greg Maxwell. How you doing, Coach?
I'm excellent. How about yourself?
Pretty good. I'm going to run down your list of accomplishments here to kind of wow the crowd. Ellinwood, Ellinwood is 32-3 on the season. Have a loss to ranked Beloit, 2 losses to Southeast of Saline, 6-time Central Prairie League champions, and you're going into Sub-State as the number 1 seed. Need I say any more?
It's been a good year. We had high goals set up, and we've had kind of a different path to get to some of those goals. We've had to make some changes throughout the year that we weren't expecting, but we are pleased where we're at this point for sure.
And the brackets aren't out as of Tuesday, but you guys are going in as the number 1 seed. Smith Center has one more loss than you guys. You guys were at Great Bend when Smith Center picked up that extra loss. How kind of fun to be in the crowd for that?
Yeah, that was something we wanted to do. We knew that we'd probably be done with our matches down in Kinsley that evening. We get back, we have a chance to watch them a little bit, and it was really more for scouting purposes alone. You see a little bit more in live action than you do sometimes on film. So it was interesting, and there were some things that Great Bend did really well that we are definitely going to learn from and try to take into our game planning for them, but we're not overlooking our first and second round matches either, because Ellis and Hoxie both look very athletic and physical, and it looks like they can create some challenges that we've got to be prepared for. So we're taking it one match at a time, and when we get to that Smith Center match, obviously we look at an opportunity to knock off the defending state champ is something we're really excited about.
And is it kind of one of those calamities again where the Trigo 2A Sub-State has you guys in Smith Center and you're 3 and 4 in the state, and then Hoxie's in there at number 10, that 3 of the top 10s and 2 of them aren't going to state?
Yeah, it's unfortunate just on the whole that you're going to have probably a Final Four team that doesn't even get to make it to the state tournament. And that I do wish the state would look at that a little more specifically and make some changes, because I think for programs that commit so much time and kids that invest so much into this, it's not necessarily the best thing for those teams and for those kids. And, I know it's hard, and I know it's not easy. There's no easy answers. That's why it's probably been this way for so long. But it is a little bit frustrating at times, but we look at it as an opportunity. And simple fact is you get the job done and you get into state, one of those teams that you're going to have to beat to hang a banner is no longer there. So, you're going to have to beat good teams along the way regardless. We look at maybe Sub-State as an opportunity to maybe put them in a situation they haven't been in the last few years. So we're excited about it.
And then just how special for this group. I know you guys went to state last year, and I think I told you right after the season I kind of had big plans, but I couldn't do that this year. But how neat to actually see it come to fruition with a 32-3 record.
Yeah, it's been great. We knew we'd roll through our schedule pretty well. Not any disrespect to the teams we played. We just knew the level we were going to be able to play at. And, in all honesty, we had a couple losses to Southeast in that tournament at Lions, and they came out and just flat out smacked us in the face, and we didn't respond well, and that was a good lesson for us. And as always, our league tournament is never easy, and we got pushed this weekend a couple times and went to 3, which was good. We needed stuff like that. We needed to have to face a little adversity and be in a hole and be able to overcome it. And so yeah, to get where we're at, we're very happy. And like I said, we've made some changes. We've been experimenting a little bit here lately, and these last few weeks we've settled in though, and now we're starting to really feel good about all the things we're doing.
Ellinwood High School volleyball coach Greg Maxwell. And the Central Prairie League, notoriously tough. Central Plains has been good for so many years. St. John was good before that. But you guys have won 6 straight league titles now, but the special one this year was you guys get to host about every 9 years, and your group of seniors capped a 4-0 run for them and made it 6 straight for you guys. How neat to be at home for that.
Yeah, that was very cool. And when I saw that we were hosting this year, I was thrilled, because this was a team you want to kind of showcase and give them a chance to play at home. And it was different. We're used to going into those other gyms and kind of taking control and taking charge, and it was a different feel. And I felt the girls played with a little sense of tension, just the simple fact that they knew it was on the line, that they need to win it again, and not necessarily play with just that freedom that they have in the past. So it was, like I said, there were some great things to learn from, and those teams come to play. They look to knock you off every year, and we know that. We know we're going to get their best shot, and each one of them gave us an excellent shot. So it was good volleyball.
And Bella Baker, season record for assists this year, so I got to watch Delaney, and she had the record. Mary Dimmitt was your setter last year, very good setter, so kind of weird for a kid to come in the first year and set a season record?
It is kind of funny, and you look at some of those other names. Yeah, Delaney was phenomenal, and Mary, had we ran a 5-1 with her, she would have put up unreal numbers. And, Bella actually looked at me about mid-season. She goes, why is this happening? And, my simple answer was, look at your hitters, Bella. You have hitters across the board that can score in every swing. And that takes away no credit from Bella. She has done a great job learning it, and she's embraced it. She's been a leader for us, and she has set in the past, never at this level for us. But it doesn't surprise me, honestly. I kind of knew that, and that was kind of why we made that move. And, but it is very cool. And she, over the weekend, had a match where she had 38 assists, another one of 33. I mean, she's just continually growing on that number. I don't know how that'll ever get touched.
So high school sports tend to be cyclical, but when you win 6 straight league titles in a tough league, it's kind of leading to something. It's a program at that point. So you do have the young kids coming up, but how about this group of seniors and what they've been able to accomplish to set maybe the tone for that?
They definitely paved a path for our girls. You know, we had that senior group a couple of years ago that kind of got a lot of things rolling for us, and these girls embraced that, and they've taken it to that next step. These girls kind of outgrew the league mindset and took it to that next level of the state mindset, and that's kind of the growth in the program that I'm looking for. And obviously, we're at that point now. And with these young ones coming in, that's what I want them envisioning: state titles. That's got to be in their focus, got to be in their work ethic, it's got to be in their determination. And then, like I said, no disrespect to our league, we look to win that every year, but the reality is our league schedule is a big part of our overall sub-state seeding. So, you know, we knew we had to go in this weekend and go 4-0 to secure that 1 seed. So that's just as important probably as even the title itself.
And then long bus ride to Waukene this weekend. How do you keep the girls up, or are they just going to be ready to play?
You know what? From what I've seen with them, they have a great mentality right now, and we're going to do some things like we did, kind of replicate what we did last year. We're going to stop and enjoy a meal on the way and kind of take it slow and get in there. And that gym's got a unique feel. It's a lot of purple and gold in that gym, so we got to get in there, get a feel. And the 1 seed is nice. You get to be on your court that whole time, but there's seating on one side and bleachers on the other. It's a dual court, so there's some things we got to get used to, and we're making some adjustments in practice to try to prepare for some of those things the best we can. But yeah, it's you know, it comes down to that's where your senior leadership has to carry you, that experience and that confidence and belief, and you know, they're willing to fight for whatever it takes to accomplish those goals.
All right, Ellinwood High School volleyball coach Greg Maxwell. The Lady Eagles take a 32-3 record and the number 1 seed into the Class 2A Substate in Trigo this weekend. Smith Center there, the reigning 2A champion. Good luck, Lady Eagles. We wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
More sports day after this.
This is Cole Ryan, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
There's nothing like A-STEM therapy. This is Tim Marcus from Progressive Physical Therapy in Hayes. Research shows that A-STEM therapy improves muscle performance and neural functioning. It's highly effective for those dealing with tennis elbow, carpal tunnel, sports injuries, and general aches and pains.
You don't need to hurt. Physical therapy can help. Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
Superior Essex is growing, expanding, thriving, and you have a chance to change the future while changing your future by joining their team. Work in a safe, clean, and climate-controlled workspace. Superior Essex is hiring for multiple positions in production and maintenance. Earn up to $23 an hour plus a sign-on bonus up to $5,000, plus a competitive benefits package including Blue Cross Blue Shield, Delta Dental, 401k with company match, and vacation and holiday pay. Apply at any Kansas Works office or at superioressex.com.
Fall into great deals during Power Days going on now at Marmy Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. We are closing out our new 2022 inventory, and the order bank is open on most new 2023 models. Our new 2022 Rams offer 0% for 48 months plus up to $3,000 in rebates, or let Mary, Tom, or Steve build a new unit to the specifications of your liking and order it. Marmy's needs used vehicles and will give a fair trade-in allowance or just buy your old vehicle for cash. Dealer retains a customer must qualify for all rebates, must finance through Marmy's with approved credit. Offer ends October 31st, 2022.
Now, in its second decade, it's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
And welcome back to Sports Day. We do appreciate Barton Community College and Cougar Athletics for presenting a Sports Day. It is just about 1 o'clock on your Wednesday afternoon. The Major League Baseball playoffs continue this afternoon and this evening on 1590 KVGB at 95.5 FM, as we'll bring you Game 2 of the NLCS between the Philadelphia Phillies and San Diego. That starts at 3 o'clock right here on 1590 and 95.5 FM. Then tonight, we'll have Game 1 of the ALCS between the Yankees and Astros starting around 7. ESPN's Jessica Mendoza will team up again with John Shambi for the call as the Padres and Phillies game this afternoon on ESPN Radio. She was a guest this morning on the Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max show on ESPN.
Jessica, ESPN, Major League Baseball analyst, of course. I'm very happy this morning.
Oh, really?
Speaking of the ESPN app, in the 7th inning, my Wi-Fi went out, so I scrambled to get the app, scrolled down, and sure enough, right there. Didn't miss a thing. But I had to hear Eduardo Perez on the call for the rest of the game.
Had to.
Max's internet goes out at least 3 times a day.
Usually when scheduled meetings are about us.
Busted.
That's why I'm never going to move.
So
no, that actually,
smart.
yeah, no one could do it. My daughter had work to hand in, online now.
I already told you, Max, just buy another building.
Yeah. Anyway, Yankees, Astros.
I know.
Jess.
I'm like, I can't wait to talk about this with you. Like, what do you think?
Oh.
Like, are you still in 2017? Like, are you still bitter and just
no. This
pissed
is what I have
and,
to say to Astros fans. I never want to hear, "Oh, you're still on that." When you do what the Astros did, they not only cheated the Yankees out of their rightful place in the World Series, but also beat your Dodgers. They beat your Dodgers. The Yankees were better than them that year. They're killing them in the Yankee Stadium, barely losing in the last at-bat in Houston where they were cheating. They knew what was coming. It's like they knew what was coming. They did know what was coming. Yeah, I'm not past that. And I'd like some revenge. I think the Yankees could win. Severino is good, and Cole is good, and Cortez is good. They can match up with the starting pitching. And I'll tell you what.
Ty on tonight.
No, that not as much. But if he can get you, you go batter for batter, see what happens. Jess, I like the way Clay Holmes, you mentioned the command's not there. It's coming back. Loizaga's throwing 100. They look pretty good. What do you think?
Oh, she's giving that look. How do I break his heart?
I know. So, Max. No, okay, the Astros are a better team, period. Like, they are a better team. Does that matter in October? The Dodgers were a better team than the Padres. I mean, they, kicked their butt all season long. It don't matter. You get to October, and this is where it gets exciting. It gets really, really fun. But, I mean, you got Justin Verlander and Framber Valdez back-to-back 2 aces going against this Yankees lineup. The best thing is, for you, is that it's a 7-game series. I just don't think you come out of Houston with a whole lot of hope and a whole lot of... Because
just got to get one. Can't get one?
Can they do this, though, Jessica? Can they chase Verlander? And what I mean by chasing, can they all of a sudden take a different approach and play a little more small ball, get the pitch count up to the point where...
The Yankees?
Yeah. Can they do that where now...
Harrison Bader at bats,
You get Verlander into throwing 90-something pitches in 2/3 of an inning.
I mean, people forget the Mariners beat Justin Verlander. Like, they didn't beat him as far as the overall win, but they got to him. They scored runs. I mean, he did not look good in that division series. But what gets lost, and I agree with you, small ball is the way to play when you're going up against dudes like Justin Verlander. Yankees don't play small ball. Like, this is...
But that's what I'm saying. Can they all of a sudden
Can you just revert
switch
back?
it?
But can you do that throughout the course
That's
of
what I'm asking her. I don't know.
But any team, all of a sudden, you can't just adjust your style of play
That's
and
why
become
I'm asking
something.
her, because I don't know.
I mean, they've shown stolen bases, okay, maybe we'll try to run a little bit, show a little bit of our speed. They are more athletic than they've been for a really long time. But if you're talking okay, pull the ball to the right side, bunt. This is not
I'm a bunt
what
guy,
this
but this is 1980. So
no. But I mean, that's actually a huge part of a game in October. You're going against dudes. That needs to be a part of your game. I'm with you.
You remember being out in LA? I used to be why aren't we bunting?
Yeah, we're the Brett Butlers of the world, just laying it down and being able to move runners, and you need to have those dudes in your lineup when it comes to this time of year.
But what about what Keith, we were talking earlier? I'm thinking more what I love about Bader, and I did not like the trade when it happened, but I'm looking at his at-bats, whatever the result of the at-bat in the postseason, spoiling all the good pitches, laying off the bad ones, working the count. Can they, whether or not they play small ball, do you think, work the pitch count at least? So here we are in the 3rd inning, and Verlander, the Astros are up 1-0, whatever it is, but Verlander's already thrown 67 pitches, and we're in the 3rd. Something like that, Jessica.
But you guys also act okay, now when Verlander's out of the game, it's a win. The bullpen's better. Like that's where it
Max,
gets.
sounds
Well,
like.
no, in the first half of the season, the Yankees bullpen was lights out, but Clay Holmes kind of lost it. Michael King got hurt, but their bullpen that's what I mean, Jess. The bullpen's starting to look better for the Yankees.
She's saying.
The
she's
Astros-
No, I get it. I get it.
Like,
They can match up with those guys.
But I'm just saying, normally you get the dude out, like, okay, all right, we got Justin Verlander on the mound. He's out of the game. Hallelujah. We're celebrating, high-fiving in the dugout. Like, it doesn't get any better, especially because they're all lined up right now. I mean, the Astros have had the benefit of rest, and so they not only have their guy on the mound, but they also have all of their guys in the bullpen. So he comes out of the game, it doesn't get any better.
But
they have the best
you get to
bullpen ERA in all of baseball.
Well, you get to the bullpen early in the series, and now all of a sudden
make them work.
You make them work, and now
Yeah.
as the series goes on, if they can escape Houston with a win, and if the Astros no longer know what's coming, and given their history, I don't know, but let's say they don't.
What is it?
If they're not cheating anymore, and you can get out with one win, and you've gotten to the bullpen, and you've made them work, and you're heading back to Yankee Stadium, it looks different.
How is it? Is it 2? What is it? 3-2? How does the series go?
So it's 2-3-2.
2-3-2.
2-3-2. So
You
if
get
they
to
can
7.
get one of the first two, is what you're saying.
I do think the X factor in this is Anthony Rizzo against all the righties. The one weakness that Houston has is they are right-handed pitching.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have lefties. So advantage Anthony Rizzo, who I feel like is the key factor in all this. We talk Stanton, we talk Judge, but who's in the middle of them? Who's in the middle of these two huge that needs to get on base? And when I think about small ball, I mean, Anthony Rizzo isn't going to lay down a bunt, but like his at-bats are he can go into that. I mean, he chokes up with 2 strikes. He knows how to
got that
the ball the
funky
right
single
side.
yesterday.
Totally, yes. And like he's able to flatten the bat, do what it takes to put the ball in play, and it is a huge advantage for him because he's going to face a whole ton of righties. There isn't that lefty-lefty matchup that he is going to come in and dominate him. He's going to face all the right-handed pitching that Houston has.
Did Aaron Judge turn the corner, even though it was a 1 home run shot yesterday? Did he kind of turn the corner to start to feel a little bit better in the month of October?
He's going to still strike out a ton. Like, I think where he's at right now is about getting on time. So he's late on the fastball. He's early on the breaking ball. He got a hanging curveball.
Missed it.
Where we saw him, like, just when he was locked in, like, I don't know if we see that again, turning the corner. But he has the ability to hit the ball out at any point in at bats. You just have to be okay if you're a Yankees fan that he's also going to strike out a ton. Like, just a part of his game right now. That's why I turn to Anthony. There's got to be other guys on base. Like, there's got to be people. That's why Stanton, 2 batters, got to walk, hit by batter to be able to make that a 3-run home run. So it's not just solo shots.
Jess, let's give the Tri-State some love for a second. How real are the Phillies? Because we haven't talked about the Phillies all day today.
I know. Thank you. There's a whole national league that's happening. It's crazy. Yes. No. Oh my gosh. Okay. First of all, can we talk about Kyle Schwarber? Like 480. Petco Park has never seen a home run hit that far, that hard, 120 miles an hour. Like, I was sitting in my hotel last night, like, wishing I had people that I could just hit and be like, are you freaking kidding me right now? There's never been a ball hit to that deck. Like,
crazy. What is that, the second or the third deck?
That's the second deck. Look at Bryce Harper, like, who had a home run in that game. And by the way, like, I give credit to you, Darvish, because honestly, he was dominant. And he gives up 2 home runs, solo shots. He gave up 3 hits the whole game in 7
Good for
innings.
him. I hope they lose.
No, but speaking of the Phillies, I mean, if Schwarber can get hot, and he is, because he had a hit in that game. We're seeing him, by the way, he was 1 for 21 in the first 6 postseason games. Like, he was awful. And now all of a sudden, it's like, okay, like, here we go. And Harper, I mean, anytime you see Harper falling over backwards, hitting opposite field home runs, you know he's arrived. Like, no one else is having that swing and doing that.
Main takeaway from what Jessica Mendoza just said is if Schwarber can turn it around, so can Aaron Judge. That's what I'm going to take away from this.
Turn it around. Like, I mean, we're acting like Aaron Judge was just heading down a path of, like, destruction. Like, I mean,
he just hit his 4th home run in a deciding game in the World Series. First guy ever to do it.
Ridiculous.
The road to the World Series goes through ESPN. Radio coverage of Padres and Phillies game 2 starts at 4. Then Yanks Astros 7. Vivid Seats Rewards is your ticket to more tickets. Vivid Seats, life happens live. We got owners beefing in the NFL.
And back on Sports Day, that was Jessica Mendoza talking with the folks on Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Max as they talked about the American League Championship Series coming up tonight. And you'll hear it right here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM as the Yankees and Astros. That game will start around 7 o'clock. But first, on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM, we have Game 2 of the National League Series. That will be about 3 o'clock. as the Padres will be hosting the Philadelphia Phillies. We'll talk with the voice of Fort Hays State Athletics after this. That's Gerard Wellbrock. You're listening to 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM on Sports Day. Train for a new career at Barton Community College in areas like carpentry, network security, or pharmacy tech. Learn more at gobarton.com. We'll be right back with Gerard Wellbrock after this.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB Great Bend and 95.5 FM K238CK Hoisington.
To be the king of the road, you have to fill with the king of diesels. We're talking about Cenex Premium Diesel. It comes with a more complete additive package for a more complete burn. Cenex Roadmaster XL even cleans up and prevents injector fouling to keep your trucks out of the shop and on the road. And typical number 2 diesel? That's always an option. The wrong option. Cenex Premium Diesel. Diesel that doesn't mess around.
Contact American Plains Co-op in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor today.
Attention high school seniors, the time to think about that next step is right now. Get everything set up in a few hours at Barton Community College's Senior Day on November 16th. At Barton, you can take classes, transfer to a university, or enroll in a technical program entering the workforce after only one semester. Did we mention $6,000 in scholarships will be up for grabs? Sign up online at gobarton.com through November 1st to attend Senior Day.
Prescription products require an online consultation. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Think you might have ED? Not sure? Well, we'd like to let you in on a little secret. ED is common. About 40% of men experience ED by age 40, but the solution is simple. Find it at 4hims.com.
I didn't have to talk to a doctor in person. There was no copay, and the medication was shipped right to my door in discreet packaging.
Hims took care of it, fast and easy. Now our love life is better than ever.
Get access to doctors online who can prescribe you FDA-approved ED medication if appropriate. The same active ingredient as name brands, but 90% cheaper. Skip the waiting rooms and pharmacy lines. Get a free medical consultation and rise to the occasion or your money back. Go to 4hims.com/joy to get your first visit free. No copay required. The only way to get this special offer is to go to 4hims.com/joy. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
It's time to head to Tiger Town to talk Fort Hays State Tiger sports with the voice of the Tigers, Gerard Wellbrock, on Sports Day.
And welcome back to Sports Day. I'm Mike Hesher, and we're joined by the voice of Fort Hays State Athletics, Gerard Wellbrock. Welcome aboard, Gerard. How are we doing this afternoon?
Doing well. Good to be a part of it.
All righty. Okay, so we're going to talk a little football. We got several subjects to cover today, but football, they're now 1-6 after losing to Central Oklahoma last Saturday. And they got off to a 10-0 lead. I was kind of listening, going, okay, they're off to a good start. And then it kind of done has what this season has done for Fort Hays. It all kind of fell apart.
Yeah, it was a great start. I mean, you couldn't have scripted a better start, and that's been a problem for them this year, slow starts. But I think you're seeing their youth, and with the injuries, and they had a couple starters out on defense, and just keeping your foot on the gas. It probably let up a little bit, and before you know it, a couple big plays and UCO's in it. But I also thought they showed a little more fight, and they handled adversity a little better. They fell behind and then kind of regrouped and got back in the game and had a great chance to take the lead to start the fourth quarter and threw just a devastating interception. And, I mean, that's when you look at this season, injuries is obviously the underlying factor. 22 players out for the year with injuries. Not all were starters, but that's a crazy number. I've never been a part of a season with that many, and some of them were from the spring that they knew going in, but still 22 on the roster out for the year. It's tough. And so you're playing a lot of young kids, and I think you saw some of that youth, and you're playing some young guys at quarterback, and I think you some of the decisions they make, trying to force it, just throw it away, live to play another day, another down, and you go in and score there early fourth quarter. I think it's game on, and you got a great chance to win. But didn't happen. But I thought a lot of positives. I thought they played with a little more passion than they have all year. And it's just interesting to see how they handle it here with the next month of the season, 4 games to go. to try to finish this thing strong. And for those coming back, try to build some momentum, because I think these are 4 important games. They're playing a lot of young kids, and I think for a lot of these young kids, this is audition time. How are you going to handle these 4 weeks when your team is 1-6? Are you going to do the things that give that coaching staff a reason to believe that you've got a chance to be a player and maybe a starter next year? So I think still a lot to play for, especially for the young guys.
Well, looking from the outside in, I'm guessing a Chris Brown team will not give up.
I would think not. I mean, hey, Fort Hays has had some ups and downs in football. There's been some other lean years, and I still never felt they gave up. I know they're disappointed in some of the leadership from above and how that's been handled. Guys they were really counting on to help them this year just haven't been there. Now some are injuries. I mean, Chance Fuller's still out. I mean, he's an all-conference quarterback. If he's not the best, he's 1A and 1B as far as best quarterbacks in the league. So, I mean, right there, that's a huge blow. And if you take that guy out of every other team in the league, you're going to struggle. All-American tight end and Hunter Budke, he's still not back, although he's starting to practice this week. I mean, some key players they just could not afford to lose. But the bright side is younger kids have stepped up, and you've seen that growth in some of these younger kids, which gives you a reason to be optimistic for the future. And I know this year is still this year, but I do think there's a lot of good young talent, and now some of that young talent, some of them were already playing, more of them are getting opportunities now, will be beneficial. Because as you know, you can do all you want in practice. Getting in an actual game, there's nothing that is second to that. So I think maybe next year they'll be a little more ahead of the curve, so to speak, going into the year because of getting more playing time this year for some of those guys.
And what is the status of the starting quarterback, Chance Fuller?
You know, they're hopeful maybe next week. I know he has seen several doctors on it. It's his non-throwing shoulder that he injured at Kearney. It's a similar injury to what he had in the playoff game in 2018. That was on his throwing shoulder. So they'll have, it's a wait and see. They obviously want to keep the kid's health first and foremost. He wants to play, but they're hopeful. I'd say there's a chance that Chance gets to play against Emporia State. We'll see, but that's what they're looking at. Obviously, a lot of time between now and then, and see how he responds. But that would be, I guess, the best case scenario is against Emporia State.
Coming up, the Tigers will host Central Missouri. What do you know about the Mules?
You know, they're 2-5. Pitt State was not ranked when they played them, but they are number 5 in the country. Their first 4 games were against ranked opponents. I mean, they got off to just an awful start. They have a new coach in Josh Lambertson, who helped Northwest win a national championship in football. He was their quarterback. He was an assistant at Central for a while, was down at Abilene Christian. Now he's back. He coached Kearney for a couple of years and struggled there, but there was a lot of factors that was not coaching that are no longer there at Kearney. They've obviously upped the ante in their program, but they're better than their record. I mean, they've got a couple good running backs, good quarterback who started his career at Texas State, so he's a good thrower who was at a Division I program. So this will be a challenge. I mean, they're a lot better than the record, and they've got a lot of young guys in some spots as well. Anytime you have that with a new coach, but it's a winnable game, but Fort Hays State's going to have to play well.
Talking with the voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers, that's Gerard Wellbrock, and we're going to switch up a little bit. The MIAA had their men and women's preseason media day recently, and the Fort Hays State men were picked 3rd in the preseason polls despite losing Gerard Witztum.
Yeah, I mean, they return a bunch. They really only lose a couple of players, but it's who you lose, your point guard and your all-conference 4-man. So it'll be a different look team, no doubt. But there's a lot coming back, and there's a lot to be excited about. I think they're going to be pretty good. The big question is how are they going to rebound? And Mark Johnson has said it, maybe the best defensive rebounder he's ever coached. And it's hard to argue when you see what he did. And they were so good defensively last year, and I think a lot of it was because of Gerard Witztum's rebounding. I mean, there was a lot of times it was a one-shot possession because Gerard gobbled it up. They don't have that this year. So to me, going in, that's their biggest challenge. Who's going to pick up the rebounding void? You probably do it as a group, but can they rebound well enough on the defensive end? And if they can, I think they have a chance to be pretty good. I think they'll be better offensively than they were a year ago, just with maturity of some of the players and some of the pieces they've added. But time will tell. But I think they'll be in the mix. Northwest has kind of owned the conference. They're going to be good. I know they're picked to win it. I just can't see them being as good when you take Trevor Hudgens out of the equation and some of the other pieces they had. I know Diego Bernard is back, and he was a great all-conference guard as well. But it'll be interesting to see how they fare. They'll be good again. They always are. But I think the conference is open this year. I think it's in the past it's been Northwest Missouri State and everybody chasing them. I think there'll be 3 or 4, maybe 5 teams who have a legit chance to win this thing, and I think Fort Hays is one of those. So should be a fun season.
And since you brought up the Bearcats out of Northwest Missouri, people don't know they've won 3 straight in Division II basketball championships, and their football team is legitimately strong every year. What is it about Northwest Missouri that they continue to be up at the top of the national rankings in basketball and football?
Location. Okay. Division II. I'm serious. It's such a different. You look at Division II sports. Okay, everybody wants to go D1. You're a kid, you want to go D1. So a lot of times, if you get that opportunity, that's great. If you don't, and Division II is your next best option, then you usually stay closer to home. Well, they're an hour north of Kansas City. They're close to Omaha, Lincoln. Basically, you look at their roster, by and large, for almost all of their teams, it's a Omaha, Lincoln to Des Moines to Kansas City triangle. There's hardly any Division IIs in Iowa, other than Upper Iowa. They go in there and get a lot of good kids. Trevor Hudgens was the exception out of Manhattan, but that was a weird deal because he had already signed with Pitt State, and their coach got fired, and that opened it up, and Fort Hays was in the hunt for him, but had already signed a point guard. So that's a long story, but by and large, that's that triangle. Their basketball facility is among the worst in the league. It's nothing great compared to Gross Memorial Coliseum, but not a great football facility. But they can go into Kansas City and get most of the kids they want. Fort Hays State can't do that. It's Hays, Kansas, and for a Kansas City kid, it's the middle of nowhere. It's more of a challenge. Doesn't say you can't win, but it is a challenge. And then if you go D1, it doesn't work out, you usually transfer back close to home. You look at Central Oklahoma in basketball, and you're even seeing in football. I got a lot of D1 kids who are from that Oklahoma City area that when they decide, I'm not playing as much as I want, or for whatever the reason, you go back close to home. And so I think there's a few programs that have a huge advantage in that regard. And you look at Washburn's resurgence in a lot of sports. They're able to keep a lot of those kids closer to home, but they're in an area that's very populous and easier to recruit than it is for Fort Hays State. Doesn't mean you can't do it. It doesn't mean you don't quit trying or keep trying, but that to me is as big a reason as anything. Facilities are nice, but that's not the whole story. So they're in a great spot, and they've been blessed to have some kids very close to home in that Iowa area that have been D1 kids that have gone. You saw Jeff Hawkins, or not Jeff Hawkins, but Hawkins. Jeff played at KU, but then went to Creighton and was one of their best players. And he was a 4-year guy at Northwest Missouri State, and that's what you're going up against. And he was a kid who wasn't recruited a lot out of high school in Iowa, and they're able to get him because of the proximity there. So that's as much as anything. And they've got good coaches, and they've got the backing, the financial, and all those things that go into it as well. But to me, that's one of the biggest things right there, just where they're located.
I had never thought about that. Thank you for the answer. And going to women's basketball, Tony Hobson, as you mentioned earlier on the show with me about a month ago, probably one of the toughest losses in his career, but they were picked second in the MIAA behind the co-regular season championship from last year, Missouri Southern.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. Southern returns about everybody, including their player of the year, now sophomore point guard. She's really good. And so that's who I picked. They'll be the team to beat. When you look at what Fort Hays lost, even though the Tigers return a lot, they lost Jaden Hobbs, and she's a generational type player for them. But I do believe the Tigers are going to be right there in the hunt. I think Tony's pretty excited. He's brought in some some transfers. He's got some freshmen I think that he feels will contribute right away. And then you bring everybody else who's back, and I think a lot of them have gotten a lot better. I think in some regards for some of those younger players, the loss in the regional will probably, not that they weren't motivated, not that they didn't work hard, but you get that edge, you got that drive. I think that will help them, but I look for them to be right where they've been. Whether they win the MIAA, I don't know. I think they're going to be in the hunt if they stay healthy, and they're going to have a great chance to get back to the NCAAs and make another run. It's going to be an interesting team for him, I feel, because I think they're heavy in guards, although maybe some inexperience for some of them because they're new to the program, and he's got the deepest front line he's ever had. So I think he can just rotate players in the 4 and 5 position, just let them go to town and go to work. And I think he's got a lot of options on style of play and different things like that. So I think it'll be an intriguing early season to figure those pieces out. And unfortunately for them, their early season is probably as challenging as it's ever been. They're going to play in an exempt tournament in Kansas City, West Texas A&M, who's a perennial national power, and making the Elite Eight. Southern Nazarene, who's always very good out of Oklahoma. They're going to play them off the bat. Then they're going to go up and play Augustana and the University of Sioux Falls up in South Dakota. Two very good programs. And then they come back home in their own classic in Minnesota State, who almost beat them in the first round of the NCAA. That's who they're going to play, and they're going to return everybody. So they might be in a position after the first 3 to 4 weeks of the season to just don't screw up the rest of the way, and you're going to probably make the NCAA, or you got some work to do. But they're going to find out real quick who they are and what they need to work on, because their early non-conference schedule is as tough as it's ever been.
And I will suggest to people, Gerard, we're just about out of time, but if you want to see a good basketball team, it's that Minnesota State team. I did watch the regional last year, and that point guard was fantastic. I don't remember her name, but she was as good as they come.
Yeah. They get after it. It is crazy up and down the floor. They play at a high tempo, high pace. They can shoot it. Yeah, that's going to be a great challenge, and I'm sure they almost pulled off the upset. They're gonna remember that and pretty much return everybody from that team. But yeah, that'll be a fun game. That'll be one of their that will be their home opener. I think it's on the Friday. I can't remember if it was the Friday or Saturday, but yeah, then they have Colorado Mesa, who was a really good program in the RMAC. So yeah, their first 6 games out of the gate are really, really tough, but should be a lot of fun.
Well, Gerard, we're out of time, so we thank you, and maybe Steve will be back next week. Maybe he won't, but we'll talk to you next week.
If he is, great. If not, always a pleasure to talk to you, Mike.
All right, that's Gerard Wellbrock he is the voice of Fort Hays State Athletics.
When you need to get rid of the pain, you want the best. You need to see Dr. Dan Quillen at Catalyst Therapy and Sports Rehab. Dr. Dan is Barton County's only board-certified clinical specialist in orthopedic physical therapy. No matter your age, when it hurts, he will help. Call Dan at 620-282-4825. That's 282-4825. Excellence-driven, unrivaled results. Catalyst Therapy and Sports Rehab. Inside the Fieldhouse at 9th and Madison and Great Bend.
Get the latest 5G devices at Next Tech Wireless. Now you can get the iPhone 14 Pro and the Samsung Galaxy S22 Plus on us, or up to $999 off any other device. And that's not all. You can also get half off a new Apple Watch when you bring your number to us. Next Tech Wireless. We are Kansas.
Man, how can you afford gas for that big SUV?
I pay less for gas than everyone else. I got the free Get Upside Gas app and get up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time I buy gas.
Hold on. You're getting up to 25 cents off a gallon with the free Get Upside Gas app while I'm paying full price?
You know it. People earned over $1 million last year. You just got to take a picture of your gas receipt and bam, up to 25 cents a gallon cash back.
You don't have to tell me twice. I'm downloading the free Get Upside Gas app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code LOVE for a 25 cent a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next tank. Just download the free Get Upside app at the App Store or Google Play and use promo code LOVE. Save money on gas on every fill-up. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code LOVE. That's LOVE. Visit getupside.com for terms.
And welcome back to Sports Day. We're just about out of time, but Mike Corson, you have an update on some volleyball brackets for us upstate.
Yeah, the smaller classifications finally came out, so those are up on Great Bend Post now. But we'll start in 5A with Great Bend. We knew they're going to Hutch, so Goddard, Eisenhower, and Hutch both defeated Great Bend, but Great Bend's going to have to get through both of those to make it to state. Big one in 3A, Hoisington's the number 4 seed. If they win, they're going to get Smoky Valley. Smoky Valley graduated Abby Rose, who has been sensational for 4 years. The biggest one, Class 2A, Waukene. Ellinwood's the number 1 seed. 3 ranked teams in there. Reigning champion Smith Center, so it's loaded.
You heard the Maxwell coach, the Ellinwood coach, talk about it. That's a brutal sub-state.
And it's tough that you got 3 ranked teams in there and only one of them's going to state, which means there's probably a sub-state out there with somebody with a 500 record.
That's pretty weak. Well, thank you, sir. We're just about out of time. You've been listening to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM, the talk of the town.